In life, we often have to make difficult choices. To marry for love or for the money. To focus on career or family and relationship. Team Jacob or Team Edward. And today, we'll determine which Japanese donburi, meaning rice bowl, is better. Is it the beef-based gyudon or the chicken-based oyakodon? I'll teach you how to make both of them so you can decide for yourself which donburi is superior. And of course, I'll eat them both at the end to tell you my verdict. So let's get started. We'll make the gyudon first. Get a quarter of an onion and slice them up into thin pieces. Now cut up about 10 grams of unpeeled ginger into small pieces, ending up like this. Now cut up 1 green onion into small pieces, as we'll be using it for our topping. For the meat, we'll be using 100 grams of pre-sliced ribeye. Then cut them into even smaller pieces. It's best to use highly marbleized beef like the Wagyu for this dish, but I'm going for a more affordable version. Now get a pan and pour 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of mirin, 1 tablespoon of shirodashi, and 2 tablespoons of water and half a teaspoon of sugar. Now get yourself a cheap bottle of red wine and pour a glass for yourself. Then pour 2 tablespoons of it into the pan and the sliced onions from before. Set the pan to high heat and bring it to a boil as you stir. Once it boils, lower the heat and simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes while you keep stirring. The onions should end up looking like this. Now put our beef into the pan and 1 tablespoon of beef fat. Keep stirring in low heat until the red part of the meat is gone. This should be good enough. Now put some Japanese white rice into a bowl. Then gently place the contents from the pan on top of the rice. Spread it out as much as you can and leave a little pocket in the middle. Place a raw egg into the pocket. And finally, sprinkle some green onions on top. And now we got a delicious gyudon. Now we'll make the oyakodon, but before, if you like my content at all, I would really appreciate it if you like my video and subscribe to this channel. Cut a quarter of onion into thin slices again. We'll use 1 chicken thigh, which is about 120 to 150 grams. Now get the smallest pan you have. Turn it to medium heat and put a little bit of oil. We'll now sear the skin side of the chicken thigh, which gives it a nice texture and a pleasant scent. This much is good enough. Now cut it up into little bite-sized chunks. It should end up looking kinda like this. Now crack open 2 eggs into a container. Then mix it up but not completely, leaving some of the white and yellow separated. Now pour 2.5 tablespoons of water into the pan, 1 tablespoon of shirodashi, 2 tablespoons of mirin, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, then finally our sliced onions from before. Set the pan to high heat and bring it to a boil as you stir. Then simmer for a couple more minutes in low heat until the onions look like this. Now place our chicken into the pan. Keep stirring as you slowly raise the heat for about 2 to 3 minutes. Set the heat back to low, then pour half of the egg mixture into the pan as evenly as possible. Then close the lid for about 1 minute. Now open up the lid, then move around the pan a little bit to spread out the uncooked part of the egg mixture. Then pour the rest of the egg mixture into the pan and move it around again. Place the optional mitsuba leaves onto the middle, then close the lid this time for 30 seconds. Open up the lid and it's ready! Then gently place the contents on top of a bowl of rice. And now we have a delicious gooey oyakodon. Now that we got both of them, let's do a taste test. So my verdict is, they're both good. That's sort of my point. Like, you don't need to pick and choose which one is better. Now you have the skills to make whichever donburi that you feel like on a given day. Like, sometimes you'll crave chicken, sometimes you'll crave beef. And you should have both for a better life overall. Just like how you don't need to choose between marrying for love or marrying for money, you can have both, like loving somebody for how much money they have. Yeah, I think that sounds right. As far as career or family go, you can and should have both. Like, some of the most miserable people I know are those that are concentrated on just their careers. Like, what's the point of having all this money or prestige if you lose all your relationships? And the happiest people I know are those that manage to do a little bit of both, which is something that I'm trying to do, which now I realize that I'm kind of contradicting myself in like what I said in my last video. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna work on myself, work on some goals I have. Team Jacob or Team Edward, like you can have both of them. Kind of like what I just did with the Oyakodon and the Gyudon. You know, I combined them so you can have both at the same time. You know, now that I'm looking at this, I wish my video was about making this like dish instead. I think that would have got the message across better in a more efficient way, but yeah, whatever happens. Oh, and another donburi dish that I really like is called the katsudon, which I did a video on like a couple weeks ago, so I'm just gonna put a link to that at the end. Alright, gotta get going now. I am going to a Broadway show, which I haven't been since before COVID, so till next time, bye.